Okay, so good afternoon. Have a blessed Sunday, everyone. So today we're going to discuss about the risk assessment and scenario planning. In an increasingly volatile and uncertain environment, organizations are no longer challenged only by known risks, but by complex, interconnected threats that can disrupt operation, supply chain, and strategic objectives. Risk assessment provides a systematic approach to identifying, analyzing, and prioritizing these uncertainties, allowing decision makers to understand potential impact before they materialize. When combined with scenario planning, it moves beyond compliance-driven risk lists and becomes a forward-looking strategic tool that supports resilience and adaptability. Risk assessment and scenario planning are especially critical in today's context of rapid technological change, geopolitical instability, climate-related disruption, and syempre, digital transformation. Rather than predicting a single future, scenario planning helps organizations explore multiple plausible futures and test the robustness of their strategies under different conditions. This week focuses on how structured risk assessment fits into scenario planning, enabling leaders to make informed decisions even when outcomes are uncertain. With that context in mind, I now give the floor to our presenter, who will walk us through the core concepts, frameworks, and practical applications of risk assessment and scenario planning, including how these tools are used in real-world organization setting. Go ahead, sir.
Once again po, good afternoon, Sir Doc Melo and Doc
Hello.
Mates. No, good afternoon po. And I am tasked to share my information and understanding about the risk assessment and scenario planning. No, so we are going to tackle the foundation, the core 5-step, and hierarchy of controls of risk assessment, as well as the foundation and steps in scenario planning. And also, we are going to I'm going to discuss the similarities and differences of both. Okay, I'll be giving I'll be giving examples and of course the conclusion about my discussion. Okay, so when I say foundation of risk assessment, okay, it focuses the foundation of risk assessment. Wait lang. Okay, the foundation of risk assessment is a systematic, iterate process designed to identify, evaluate, and control potential threats to people, asset, or strategic goals. It serves as the primary proactive tool for organization to move from reactive crisis management to structured planning. No, so when we say risk assessment, it is systematized methods or a process or I mean it has methods or processes. Okay, so hindi lang basta-basta siya naiisip, but then okay, there are things to be considered in order for the organization act okay before those crisis or risk. Okay, so of course, it is made to control potential threats or minimize threats for people, asset, and strategic goals. Ayaw. Ayun. Okay, these are the steps or the core steps okay of the risk assessment. No, okay, ito ay na-recognize din ng UK Health and Safety Executive. Okay, so the first one is to identify okay those risk or hazard. No, it is okay to collect information coming from the reliable resources or reliable person, okay, to identify different risks, but it is recommended to observe personally those things that may be affect to the performance of the organization. Sabi dito, walking through the workplace to spot anything that cause harm, no? So by means of personally observing, okay, the situation in an organization, okay, so personally makikita natin ang mga potential problems, no? By the way, ang risk assessment and scenario planning, ginagawa yan before, of course, the crisis, before, of course, the risk, no? So para makapag-prepare. And the next one, okay, after identifying those hazards, okay, it is the time to decide who might be harmed and how can they be harmed, no? So, for example, yung mga workers, ganyan, yung mga prone doon sa possible or potential risk. Then after deciding who might be harmed and how, okay, then okay, so the third one is the evaluation of risk and decide on precaution. Assessing the likelihood and severity of harm to determine if existing controls are sufficient or if more action is needed, no? Okay, what does it mean? Okay, of course, the organization oftenly or most likely ready naman sila sa mga possible risk or hazard in their company, no? So meron naman sila. But for me, everything is changing, no? May pagbabago rin at may pagbabago. Baka yung kanilang okay, prepared solution to that particular risk or hazard is not sufficient enough to solve those problems. That's why, okay, they have to evaluate those risks and provide accurate solution for that particular risk. Then after evaluating the risk, okay, the record findings, no? So documenting significant hazard and the action taken to reduce them, no? It is also mandatory for any or every organization, no? Yung pagre-record ng mga hazard and specific action for that crisis. Then after that, review and update. Okay, review and update. Regularly revisiting the assessment to ensure if the remain valid as workplace condition or equipment, no? So continue updating or continue monitoring those places or syempre yung mga rules and regulation nila kung talagang na updated pa, no, kung talagang maayos pa in particular situation or cases. Then okay, so this is the hierarchy of controls sa risk assessment, no? So kapag na-identify na of course ang risk, okay, syempre the first thing obviously is through elimination, no? Eliminate or remove this hazard entirely. Then after elimination, hindi lang elimination, no? So palitan natin ng safer alternative. Then, so we have engineering controls using physical barriers or modification, no? So we may use or we must use, okay, the technology, especially if it is useful to your organization. Yung mga detectors, di ba? So yung mga ginagamit natin to determine, usong-uso ngayon yung mga unpredictable events, no? Yung virus at kung ano-ano pa. Virus, I mean sa computer na parang ganoon. And of course, if your workers or personnel is prone to that risk, syempre, bibigyan natin sila ng PPE, no? Yung personal protective equipment. Okay? So next po. Here is the foundation of scenario planning, no? Actually, traditionally speaking, based on my research or understanding, itong scenario planning before pala, gumagawa lang sila ng isang plan based on the situation of their organization. What I mean is if the organization is stable when it comes to their financial status or whatever. So magbabase lang sila ng kanilang plan doon sa kanilang situation kasi nga single most likely future, no? Parang okay naman kami. So ano ang iisipin namin, no? So syempre mag-iisip lang kami ng susunod na plan na makakatulong mas magde-develop pa sa aming organization. But today, okay, when we talk about scenario planning, we are thinking negative or positive potential uncertainties o potential scenario na pwedeng makaapekto sa isang organization. No, we are going to think negative uncertainties, no? Okay, baka dumating to, na baka mangyari to. What if dumating ang gantong senaryo? What if biglang tumaas ang presyo ng langis? What if biglang ang customer na loyal ay biglang nawala sa atin? What will happen? What we are going to do next, no? May mga ganoon. Syempre aside from that, isipin ang bawat senaryo kasi mayroong dapat may kaukulang strategy, no? So napakalawak ng scenario planning, napaka broad nito. Kasi nga lahat ng sabi nga ni Doc Mel kanina, plausible, no? It means that okay, you are creating a story or statement that is believable, no? Pwede talagang mangyari at kapanipaniwala, no? So yung mga bagay na yon ay paghahandaan bawat isa. Ito ang sinasabing scenario planning. Okay, whether it is negative or positive, dapat paghandaan for the welfare of the organization. Okay, so scenario planning is a strategic, hindi ko mabasa. Okay, method used by the organization to envision and prepare multiple potential outcomes by analyzing key trends and driving forces. Unlike traditional forecasting, which predicts only a single most likely future based on historical data. Scenario planning creates detailed, plausible narrative and of various alternative futures to test strategies and improve, of course, the decision making. No, yun tulad nga yung sinabi natin kanina. So ito ang pillars ng scenario planning, no? So of course, okay, one of the consideration here is the critical uncertainties, no? So sabi nga nila, expect the unexpected. Sabi nga nila, no? So maybe that is these uncertainties, although we are not expecting this to happen to us, pero baka pwedeng mangyari and baka pwedeng magkaroon ng malaking epekto at hindi na paghandaan ng isang organization. That's why, okay, in scenario planning, we must create, no, different believable uncertainties or statement or stories, okay, to make the organization ready, no? Mapaghandaan din. Okay? After identifying those uncertainties, okay, also we have to identify those driving forces. Actually, in an organization, 5 lang naman ang anim ang kadalasan nating na-identify na forces, which is also called the PESTEL, no? Political, economic, social, technological, environmental, legal, no? Baka yung mga uncertainties na to ay political related, no? Or economic related, or social, technological, and so on, so forth. Then the plausibility and the probability, no? Scenarios are not meant to be right. Okay? O totoo naman, no? So when I say scenarios, hindi naman talaga sinasabing tama o mali yan, no? So ito ay ginagawa, of course, because of the probability, no? So pwedeng mangyari. Pero hindi sinasabing yan ay tama na. So, baka pwedeng mangyari yan in the organization, no? What's the purpose? Okay, to be internally consistent and realistic stories that challenge existing mental models, no? Para matanim sa ating mga isipan na merong gantong pwedeng mangyari. At syempre, hindi na magkakagulatan, no? Kapag dumating nga sakali yung crisis na yun or risk na yun or problem, no? So ang scenario planning is related to what we call outside in thinking, no? Ang scenario planning pala begins with the external environment there and its uncertainties rather than internal organization. Oftenly or most of the time, etong pagkukunan or panggagalingan ng ating scenario planning ay manggagaling sa labas, which is ito nga, no, yung PESTEL. So actually outside of our environment, outside of the organization, no? So yun. So nakita ko lang to, no, na sample ng isang company, the Dexon Company. So actually iba-iba naman talaga ang strategy ng bawat organization, no? Pero ito yung kanila. So yung number one, determining position, no? Identify issues that need to be addressed in the strategy. Identify marketing opportunities and possible threats. Determine staff weakness and strength. Assess current customer satisfaction and demand. Okay, after determining the position, so they develop strategy, no? So under developing strategy, address the identified issues, develop marketing mix, determine objectives and action plan. So monitor and evaluate strategies, evaluate progress towards objectives, identify new issues, make changes to strategy as needed. Then after developing those strategy, building a plan, no? Use SWOT analysis, use SMART objectives and set goals, set clear action and roles, provide key performance indicators, no? Number 4, okay, manage performance, no? Disseminate strategy to the whole team. Establish a clear timeline. Start training team members. And the last one is monitoring, no? Quarterly review, produce KPI analysis, key performance indicator, you know, review reports and plan next year's new strategy. So sample lang naman pula yan ng ano nila, no, ng planning, scenario planning. Okay, so to sum up, okay, the differences between risk assessment and scenario planning ito. In terms of primary goal, no? So ang risk assessment is focusing on minimizing negative impacts. Okay? So ang risk assessment, ang gusto lang niyang bigyan ng solusyon yung mga negative. Okay, mga negative na pwedeng mangyari. Okay? Syempre para maiwasan yung mga negative impact, okay, they must ensure that they are complying the requirements of those operations na ano, no, baka napabayaan na, kay luma na yung ginagamit, di ba? So i-comply nila para maiwasan yung negative impact na yan. Okay, while okay in scenario planning, okay, their primary goal is to make or explore multiple plausible futures and build strategy, no? So when I say multiple plausible future, yung ano yung mga pwedeng mangyari, okay, sa isang company na napakalawak niyan, ang dami-daming pwedeng mangyari. Doon sila nakafocus. What's the purpose? Okay, kasi nga baka pwedeng mangyari. Okay, kung mangyayari yan, meron din silang gagawin. Okay, so yun po ang primary goal ng
Balis na ako
okay, when it comes to focus, okay, ang risk assessment, okay, specific. Okay, so nakikita identifiable risk, no? So alam nila kung ano yung kasi specific nga siya. For example, sa mga si Doc Marmelo, no? Computer ano yan, no? Computer literate, no? So alam niya kung ano yung mga possible risk ni Doc, no? So when it comes to computer, no? So, madali lang naman. So napaghandaan. While in scenario planning, so broad possibilities and complex uncertainties, no? Okay, data source, historical data and known trends. Napaka ano na, para bang fix na, no? Yung pwedeng gamiting sources, no? So kung ganito ang problema, ito ang gagawin, no? kung ganito ang problema, ito ang gagamitin natin. Kasi nga, okay, trends na siya. But in scenario planning, of course, qualitative, no? Napakalawak, qualitative narratives and emerging signals. Of course, the outcome, risk register and mitigation plan. Okay, while in sa ano yung specific no risk yun, no? While in scenario planning, robust strategies and pivot option. Okay? Sa time frame naman, ang risk assessment ay ano lang, no, short to medium term. It means parang nasa 3 months or 2 to 3 years, no, parang ganyan. Okay, while in scenario planning, okay, it takes medium to long term, no, 10 to 20 years estimate. Kung may differences ang risk assessment and scenario planning, of course, meron din silang in common, no? So in terms of logic, okay, yung based on if-then thinking, no? What if, then, parang pang then yung strategy, yung gagawin, no? Okay, pareha silang merong ganyang thinking. Data, of course, they both use mixed historical data. Okay? Although, etong si scenario planning, it not just based on the data, no, nag-explore pa siya, pero gumagamit din siya ng data bilang reference, no. So hindi pwedeng mawala 'yon. Okay? So outcome, okay, wala namang ibang nais itong dalawang to is to increase organizational resilience, no, pagiging durable, agility, yung pagiging flexible ng isang organization. Okay, biases, okay, parehas silang merong black swan events, no? It means okay, merong uncertainties pa rin. Uncertainties uh, in terms of hindi naman talaga nila alam kung kailan darating 'yon, no? So, 'yun ang tinatawag na black swan. Value, okay, since this is the strategy, okay, on resolving or minimizing the risk, okay, ang mahalaga dito, yung process, no? So, kasi nga ito yung way on how to solve the problem, no? Okay, so ito po yung mga nakuha kong sample sa ano no about scenario planning and risk assessment. Okay, ito sa Quezon City DRMM office, ito yung ginawa nila, no. The first thing, ang pinaghandaan nila dito is parang dalawa, no. Okay, so they identified risk, no. Ano yung risk na yun, yung seismic hazard, no, yung tungkol dito sa tinatawag na West Valley Fault. Okay, so in-identify nila yon, no? So pwede raw ma-experience ng affected areas ang magnitude 7.2, okay, ng the big one, no? So ito ay catastrophic sa Metro Manila. Ibig sabihin very high ang effect nito, no? Especially in Metro Manila. So yun ang isang risk na identify nila. Next is the hydrometeorological hazards, no? Identifying areas prone to flooding and storm surges using high-resolution tools. Okay, yung LIDAR. Ano ba yung LIDAR? Parang sa distance to no? And computer simulations. Then after identifying those risks, okay, they proceed to risk analysis, no? Remember, ano lang to, plano nila, yung ano nila. Okay, kung sakasakali dumating. Okay, so risk analysis, okay, they consider population. Okay, alin ba sa mga barangay or area yung pwedeng talagang risky, makaranas, no? Okay, the critical facilities. Okay, so mapping hospitals, schools, and government centers to ensure they remain functional during disaster, no? Kinonsider din nila yun, no? Just in case mangyari, so aling school, hospital, or government center ang pwedeng magamit. Of course, yung color-coded zoning, no? Under DILG's Oplan Ligtas na pamayanan, barangays are classified into color-coded vulnerability zone to prioritize, of course, resource allocation, no? So, ganyan. siguro red, orange, green, mga ganoon siguro yung color. I'm not familiar particular with the color code yet. Okay, number 3 is the risk evaluation. Yan, risk evaluation. So agencies identify major decision areas where risk classified as very high. So after identifying, analyzing or whatever, then evaluation na ang susunod, no? So para mapagdesisyonan kung gaano karaming support ang pwedeng gamitin para sa lugar na 'yon, kung gaano kalaki. Then risk mitigation, this is already the action planning. Okay, so eto na. Ang plano nila ay maglagay ng engineering controls, no? Okay, retrofitting public buildings against earthquakes. Then administrative controls, no, using joint memorandum circulars for occupational safety and health standards in government workplace, no, yung mga yung mga protocols, parang ganyan. Technological integration. Okay? So may mga time na kailangan nila magsuot ng mga body camera or any technological equipment na pwedeng makatulong during this time of risk. Then after that, okay, the post-disaster risk assessment or PDR, okay? Conduct PDRs to assess actual agencies like Office of the Civil Defense conduct PDRS to assess actual damages and losses. Okay, this information is used to update lesson learned, refine future risk models to avoid the fragmentation seen previous years, no? So ito po ay risk assessment ng DRRM Quezon City. Ito naman, as a public school teacher, ito pala yung ito pa yung ito yung legal basis, okay, ng paggawa nila ng scenario planning. Okay, yun nga, no, sinabi ko, since I am a public school teacher, syempre naghanap din ako ng risk assessment ng division, no? Okay, ito ang sa DepEd. Okay, risk identification. Every school year, the School Governance and Operation Division updates its risk register. In 2026, the top identified risk in DepEd, no? Infrastructure, actually sa Lindol to, parang sa Lindol, no? Infrastructure risk, no? Collapsing school buildings during West Valley fault earthquake, no? Learning loss risk, no? Disruption of classes due typhoons or extreme weather, heat waves. Okay? So data privacy risk, potential breaches of the learner information. Okay? So ito yung top 3 na nakita ni DepEd when it comes to the operation in different public school or even the private school, no? So ito yung pwede nilang maranasan. Okay, after that, halos parehas lang naman sila ng style, no, ni DRRM. Risk analysis, likelihood, like impact, no? DepEd uses the comprehensive school safety monitoring tool. Okay? So case, no, a school in coastal area in Samar. Okay? Analysis, the likelihood of typhoon is almost certain 5, no? The impact on physical classroom is catastrophic. Grabe, yun, no? So result, this school is prioritized for alternative delivery modes and elevated stormproof pagcore style buildings. Ito yung nagiging nakikita nilang magandang solusyon. Okay, kapag ang kaso ay tulad ng school sa Samar. Then after that, risk mitigation. So meron silang 4 pillars. Okay, yung risk avoidance, no? Ibig sabihin, huwag magtatayo ng building malapit sa mga yung malapit doon sa mga delikadong area. Okay? So risk reduction, structural, the DepEd school building program now requires earthquake resilient design. Ano ba? Sa iba nga, I remember nakapanood ako ng isang sa Facebook, sa yung may lumindol yata sa Singapore ba yan? hindi natumba yung mataas na building because merong parang shock absorber, no? Parang spring na ginagamit below the building na kapag naglindol hindi masyadong umuuga si building, no? Parang may mga ganoong design eh. Okay, earthquake resilient. Yung talagang tatagal, no? Hindi basta-basta gigiba. Operational, of course, kapag nangyari 'yon, syempre may blended learning. Okay? Risk sharing, no? Ensuring school buildings through the government service insurance system to ensure funds for rapid reconstruction. No? So, hingi ng tulong, no, sa mga government agencies na pwedeng makatulong sa sa pag-aayos kung sakaling may nasira. Of course, the risk acceptance. Accepting minor delays in the academic calendar for psychosocial support days following a disaster, no? So whether we like it or not, ang daming nagrereklamong magulang bakit hindi na raw nagtuturo nagtuturo ang mga teacher sa public or private school, wala nang natututunan, lagi na lang online class, lagi na lang module, di ba? For me, okay, although education is important, pero wala nang hihigit pa sa buhay at kaligtasan, no? So, yun ang isa sa mga dapat nating tanggapin at kailangan nating i-consider. Number 4, monitoring and communication. Okay? So, DepEd monitoring and communication system. Regional office use real-time dashboard to track which schools have completed fire and earthquake drills, no? From time to time, meron kami may mga schedule kami para sa earthquake drills, no? And it is it is very important at nire-record 'yan, no? Namin. Okay, dapat meron kaming MOVs na ginagawa namin yung requirement. Okay, public service continuity plan. Okay, this 2026 mandatory documents ensure that even if a regional office is destroyed, the payroll and records function fail over to a secondary cloud-based site. No, hindi dapat masira. Okay, masira, matigil or magkaroon ng hindrance when it comes to payroll and record, no, ganyan. So dapat meron silang backup storage na paglalagyan. Ito yung ito yung sinusundan ni DepEd. Okay, when it comes to a risk assessment sa paggawa nito. Okay? So ito naman ang scenario planning illustration, no? So hindi ko na nilagay yung mga steps kasi ang dami, bawat scenario lalagyan ng step, no, strategy. Pero ito isa example, no, number 1, Department of Tourism. Okay, yung kanilang uncertainties, okay, it's all about the global travel recovery. Okay, sabi dito, inisip nila, will international tourism recover post-pandemic? Yes or no, di ba? Dalawa po yan, no? Pwedeng yes, pwedeng no. So, papaano kung yes, papaano kung no, na parang ganoon. And pangalawa nilang iisip, the uncertainties, sustainability focus, no? Will travelers prioritize eco-friendly destination? Oh, yes or no pa rin yan, no? So, nagsasanga. So, these are the example of scenarios and strategies, okay? So, tourism boom. Okay, kung ang tourism ay naging successful, no? Okay, recovery is swift, no? Ibig sabihin, mabilis ang recovery. All they have to do, and it means that yung sustainability yung key, okay, para yung success ay ma-maintain, no? So eto ang gagawin, invest in ecotourism infrastructure, promote sustainable practices, no? Ito daw yung mga pwedeng nilang maisip na strategy para yung tourism natin ay talagang ma-maintain na sa pagiging successful. Okay? What if slow recovery, no? Recovery is slow. Okay, sustainability of course is the key, of course, also, no? Focus on the domestic tourism. Okay? Develop local sustainable attractions, no? So ito pa yung kanilang scenario. about mass tourism. Recovery is swift, sustainability is not prioritized. Manage tourist capacity, promote responsible tourism practices. Parang gano'n, no? So local focus, recovery is low, sustainability is not prioritized. Hindi ko mabasa. Support local tourism, business, develop community-based tourism. Okay? Ito po ay tungkol naman sa NEDA, no? So, ang kanilang uncertainties is all about global economic trends. Okay, will global growth be strong or weak? Will infrastructure push? Will the government prioritize infrastructure development? O, yan, no? So, nagsasanga pa rin. So, these are the possible scenario about strong growth, no? Global growth is strong. Infrastructure push continue. Positive yun. Invest in human capital. Support industry development. Okay? Infrastructure drive. Global growth is weak. Infrastructure push continue pa din. No? Focus, of course, on infrastructure project. Stimulate local economy. So, yung bawat tawag nito, solution na yan, doon magsisimula na yung planning, no? So, napaka-complex. Export boost, no? Global growth is strong, infrastructure push slow, no? So, all they have to do is to support export-oriented industries and develop trade partnership. Then, challenging time. Global growth is weak, infrastructure push slow, no? Prioritize social programs, support small businesses and MSMEs. Okay, for the conclusion, okay, risk assessment and scenario planning are critical, complementary, and forward-looking tools that shape organization from reactive crisis management mindset to proactive strategic agility. While risk assessment focuses on identifying and mitigating potential identifiable threats, scenario planning explores multiple plausible futures to prepare for uncertainty. Together, they are essential for navigating volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment, fostering resilience and ensuring long-term sustainability. And that's all, Doc. Thank you po for listening and cooperation po.
Okay, so thank you so much, no? At its core, no, risk assessment involves identifying risks, no, evaluating their likelihood and impact, and prioritizing them based on severity. So let's say, for example, a manufacturing firm may identify supply chain disruption as a high impact risk due to reliance on a single overseas supplier. So through identifying the likelihood of disruption and estimating financial and operational impacts, management can justify mitigation actions, no, such as supplier diversification or safety stock strategies. Scenario planning builds on this by creating structure narrative of how the future might unfold under different assumptions. Instead of asking what is the most likely outcome, organization asks what if conditions change dramatically. A common example is in the energy sector where firms develop scenarios such as a rapid decarbonization, slow regulatory change, or extreme climate events. No? A scenario is then used to test with their current strategies, investment technologies, and capabilities remain viable or need adjustment. When combined, no, the risk assessment and scenario planning enable proactive rather than reactive decision making. So a real world case can be seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ano nga yung pangalan ng bago ngayon? Henepan? No? Where companies that had previously modeled pandemic or global shutdown scenarios were able to pivot faster, no? So shifting to remote operation, adjusting supply chains, and reallocating resources. So actually, that the key takeaway is that these tools, no, do not eliminate uncertainty, but they significantly improve organizational preparedness, strategic flexibility, and long-term reliance. Okay, so I think that's it for this topic. And thank you so much, and congratulations to our presenter.